Hi, Ron's here for Ron's Rants. I'm back. Today I want to talk about apples, and specifically apples without borders. You know, apples have gotten man into trouble since time began. It started with Eve handing Adam an apple and said, "Try this, you'll like it." And it was ugly ever since. There's lots of expressions in America, as American as apple pie, you're the apple of my eye, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But you know what? One bad apple could spoil the whole bunch. In fact, it could be rotten to the core. My story about apples has to do with crossing the border inadvertently with an apple. Now I signed off, and I'm talking about not this green apple that I'm showing you, because if it was a green apple, it could be confused with the Beatles record company. No, in fact, the apple I had was a red apple. And of course, you know from previous rants, I'm a big fan of apple, but that's a different apple. I love that apple. Apparently you can take this apple anywhere you want as long as you're declaring that. So I'm crossing the border with this red apple. I'd filled out the forms. I said I wasn't importing fruit. I wasn't on a farm. I hadn't been near a plant, an animal, nothing. I thought I qualified. But you know, they don't feed you on airplanes anymore, and I grabbed this apple on my way out, had it in my briefcase. Well, I got a random search. They found this apple. You would have thought I was smuggling contraband. They grilled me, and they took away my apple, and they told me never to do it again. But much to my surprise, every time I've gone in and out of the US ever since, I seem to be on CSIS no-fly list. They think I'm a fruit peddler or a fruit smuggler, and I think that's just not right. You know, the saddest part of the whole thing is once I got through security and went into the Air Canada lounge, there was a basket of apples. Now, it's not that these were California apples, but apparently these were safe apples to take on an airplane. So, there's the big apple in New York. There's one bad apple spoiling the whole bunch. My apple seems to have gotten me into trouble. If you have a suggestion for me to help me get off that list, I'm happy to hear it.